the general status of your budget?
The budget right now, the reason why we're having some difficulty is the state of California for years kept spending more than what they were taking in. They kept building up huge deficits, and finally it came to a head where they just couldn't spend anymore. They were going to really be in dire straits. They were losing their bond ratings for their bonds for the state of California. It was going down, and they finally realized they can't continue on. We're still working with this. The governor's trying to figure out how to cut some of the pension costs at the state of California. A lot of people in California, you've been reading the paper, they retire and they take down a pension of hundreds of thousands of dollars a year as a pension. Well, that's just ridiculous. No other state has that kind of a problem. And people here in California seem to think that a pension is something that everybody should have. And where I've worked before, we didn't have pensions at the state. In Nebraska, so whatever you put in, that's what you get out when you retire. People here expect that after you've worked for so long, you ought to have free health care for the rest of your life and a large pension. And that's just unheard of in most states. And so that bill, or the cost that we did for that, created a lot of bills in the state legislature that says, we got to cut this out. And so last year, we took for the current year, about almost a 7% cut in our budget.
Educational budget?
Educational budget. And all of our money that we get comes from the state. In other words, the tuition that we receive here goes to the state. We don't get to keep it for the in-state tuition. Then they give us some money back, and what they're giving back now is like 7% less than what we had last year. And last year we were pretty tight, and so now it's getting cut. And looking in mid-year here, we might have some more cuts. And even next year, there's going to be more cuts. So right now we're running about probably 95% of our budget is salary and benefits. And we don't have much left for cost, and a lot of those costs are utilities, fixed contracts, and things like that. So we have very little room to make cuts, and so it's very difficult in a budgetary time now. And so we're cutting supplies down. People are having to buy some of their own things and stuff just because there's no money left.
With all this construction going on, and equipment needs and equipment changes and technology changes, is there money set aside for those developments?
Well, for the bond issue, for all the new construction, again, that money all comes from the bond issue. That's all taken care of. What's not taken care of as part of the bond issues is trying to maintain those new facilities and renovated facilities down the road. In other words, if we had, let's say, 1 million square feet of building space for all floors, and now that increases, let's say, 1.2 million, there's no money being given to us by anybody to cover that additional space we're going to have to maintain.
Does this campus plan in the future to have domiciliaries?
Have what?
Domiciliaries or housing?
Housing? That wouldn't be a bad idea if we had some money to start that. In fact, I was thinking that if we could have some good facilities close by where students could actually pay the rent and get good facilities, that would be great for us. But those things are costly, and the tuition or the rates that the students may have to pay for that kind of housing may be more than they want to pay. I don't know that for a fact, but where I used to work at the University of Nebraska, Lincoln, we had a lot of residence halls there. And, of course, the residence halls are running, maybe up to $5,000 a year to live in the dormitory. So
yeah, it's relatively expensive.
That includes food and everything.
On it.
Yeah.
What is the basic mission statement about UC?
What is our basic mission statement?
Yes, sir.
Well, I'm not exactly sure what the exact wording is, but it's to provide the best possible education we can for the students. And we want to try to get students to be able to transfer, like you mentioned. We want students to get professional degrees. We have nursing, we have dental tech, rad tech, some very good programs. We have a good theater program here where people go on and become very good actors and actresses. So our goal is to try to improve the lot of the students.